Hi everybody, this is Cat Coloring with an impromptu video because look what I got in the mail today. This is very exciting. These are my new pencils, and they were in a very large box with a lot of plastic wrapping. So much plastic wrapping that you felt sorry for the fish in the sea and the sharks and the dolphins and the whales. Whoa. So here they are, my Derwent Inktense pencils. Something that I have wanted for a while, but they are quite expensive. In Danish kroner, they are almost 1,500 kroner. That is about $218, 175 pounds if you live in Britain, and 200 euros if you live in the rest of Europe. But I got them on sale with a 54% discount, so I only paid 549 kroner for them. That's equivalent of almost $80 if you live in America, or 64 pounds if you live in Britain, and 73 euros. They line a very, very nice tin box. I like tin boxes. So they are quite protected. And then also more plastic. I'll have to use my scissors to cut it open. And here they are. This is the 72 set. Wow, a lot of great colors. I'm kind of looking around because sometimes when you get color pencils, there are some brushes or other things, but it's just the pencils. So if I put these here, you can see a lot of colors. A lot of greens here, and blues, purples, some pinks and red, I think. A bit of orange and yellow. Not so much yellow and orange. It looks like there are mostly blues and purples, pinks and greens, a lot of greens and browns, and some grays. I think it's difficult to see here. They're made in England, and they have the name here, Indian ink. This one is sepia. So Indian and sepia. Well, I will have to swatch them out to get a grip of the colors, because if you see here, it's the same problem again like the Arteza I reviewed a few days ago, that we have the color here and it says red oxide, and then the core here is much darker. So I will have to do a little swatching to get a feel of the colors of these Inktense. I have, of course, my Faber-Castell watercolors, but when I saw this offer for the Derwent Inktense, I couldn't resist it. I mean, saving 54%, I just had to buy them. I couldn't wait for Christmas or anything. So I think that I will swatch them, and then I'm going to see what they can do. I'm going to swatch the colors now. I went online to try to find if someone had made a color chart with the Derwent Inktense 72, but the one I managed to find was very, very small. There was hardly any room in the squares for the colors, so I thought I would make my own, because these are watercolor pencils and I want to have enough room to add first the color and then swatch them with water. So it's going to be a swatching in two parts. First I'm going to get the color of the pencils down on the paper, and afterwards I'm going to use water to see how the colors transform with the water, and if it changes anything. Like I said, there are some differences between the color here of the pencil and the color of the core, so I want to see if the water helps in any way to explain why there is such a difference between the paint and the core. But here we go. The sorbet lemon, and I'm going to do as I normally do. I'm going to press hard and then ease the pressure. But I must say that just this one pencil has a lot of color, a lot of pigment in the coloring. So even though I ease the pressure, there's still a lot of color here on the page. The sun yellow. A really, really nice color. And then the cadmium yellow. And this is a really nice dark yellow color. And this is where it gets funny, I think, or strange. Sicilian yellow. And it's more like a burnt orange. It's, well, the color, pencil color without water, certainly looks like it's more of a sort of burnt orange. The golden yellow, well, without the water I would certainly say that this is just orange. The sienna gold. Wow, this is almost like some sort of copper or brown, reddish brown. It doesn't look like gold. Cadmium orange is, well, it is orange, but a sort of darker orange I can see. Yeah, it was a better match between paint and core. Burnt orange. This is almost also like some sort of brown, reddish brown, this one. And the tangerine. Is like a dark orange. No, the paint here is darker than this color. And the mid vermilion. This is almost like a sort of dark red, reddish brown. And scarlet pink. which isn't pink at all. It's much more scarlet than pink. Well, the poppy red is certainly red. You can clearly see the red color here. Oh, and this matches almost to this paint. Well, you can see here that according to the names and the color, it's not easy to see that this is a Sicilian yellow and the sienna gold. Well, I will have to wait until I have swatched them all and then put the water on it to see what the color really looks like. So I'm going to do the rest of the swatching with music, and then we'll see. The first part of the swatch is complete, and as you can see here, the first impression you get from the Derwent Inktense is that they are very, very color pigmented. A lot of pigments in the color. You can also see here from the colors that there are a lot of dark colors. The brightest colors are on this side, the yellows and oranges and some of the red, and then it just gets darker. The dusky purple and sheerers are very, very dark, and especially this page, I think the purples and blues, they are mostly dark, and the iris blue is more bright. Well, perhaps the sea blue also, but the rest of them are very dark in the color, in the pencil at least. The greens, more light and bright colors here, also some darks. And if you look at this page, especially this side of the page, from the dark chocolates to, well, I wish I knew what colors they were. Sepia ink. Sepia is usually a brown color, but it looks very much like black here, just with the color pencil. I cannot see any difference between bark and sepia, except that sepia is a bit lighter than the bark. Then we have Indian ink, Chinese ink, charcoal gray. They are all so dark and exactly alike. They just look black here. The Payne's gray, a lighter than neutral gray, almost as dark as the black here, but it's like this is just a blur of black and some perhaps little brownish in the dark chocolate. So I can't wait to get these colors swatched with water, when I put water on them, and see what happens. And then something that I have never experienced before, one of my browns, I think it was this one, the saddle brown, the tip it's loose. It's already broken. You can see here it moves. I can just take it off. I have never experienced anything like this with color pencils I have just bought and just started coloring with. I must say I'm a bit disappointed that this happened. It's clearly broken from within. So there's nothing else to do than to toss this out and just sharpening it again. Yeah, well, now I will prepare for the water swatch. So I am ready to do my water swatch, and I have prepared myself with a newspaper underneath so I don't get water or smudge my desk. I have some paper towels here to wipe off the excess water from my brush. You can use these. I have these Tombow water brushes. This one is pointy. You can also use this one. You can see I've used it for some green, and use it to make it wet. But when you do larger areas, I prefer my my normal brushes. I also paint in acrylics, so I have a number of brushes for my acrylic paint. I also have my, well, this is there has been marmalade in this one, and it's clean, and now I have filled it with water. I'm just going to dip my brush, and then, so I don't get too much water on this, and so I'm trying to just do it this way one time. You can see here that I swatched it with a lot of pressure. Let off the pressure a bit, and then very light pressure here. So I want to see how this goes when it dries out. with a lot of color and some color and hardly any color, and you can see they are so pigmented, there's color everywhere, but I still want to see the difference in the color. But you can also see here with the first one, the sherbet lemon. Wow, what a lot of color comes to life here with the water. So I will just take this one, the sun yellow, how it comes to life. Oh. And the cadmium yellow. A beautiful dark yellow color. And the Sicilian yellow, so the water almost transforms it into a lighter orange and not so brown as it was before I put the water on. This golden yellow I'm really excited to see because I think it looks orange, but look what happens when you put the color on. It just transforms into a beautiful golden color. You can really see it here. Not orange anymore, but really a golden yellow. So this sienna gold, I'm really excited to see this because I think it looks very brown. And also a wonderful transformation with the water. Oh, I almost had too little water. Wow. Also a very beautiful golden color. And the cadmium orange turns to a more brighter orange when the water hits it. Perhaps it's not so clear now. I hope you can see it, and especially when it's dry. So the burnt orange also looks very brown. And when you put water on it, it's a very dark orange. It doesn't look as brown as it did before. The tangerine, sorry if you can hear some noise in the background, it's my daughters. The mid vermilion, it's difficult to decide with the water on if it's more red than orange. The scarlet pink, I have a feeling this won't turn pink just with the water. No, need a little bit more. No, it's red. scarlet pink is very red. And so is the poppy red. It's unlike the Prismacolor, which is more orange. This is a very, very beautiful red. You can clearly see it. So as you can see, the colors turn even more bright, and some of them transform when the water is added to the color pencil pigments. So some of the brownish disappears, and we have golden and beautiful orange colors here. So I'm going to water swatch the rest to music. The papers are dry now, and I'm going to give my second impressions of the Derwent Inktense. And you can clearly see that the colors are even more bright and strong in the pigment when the water blends with the pencil. You can clearly see that this page with the yellows and the golden oranges, reds, and well, perhaps not pinks. I wouldn't stretch it as far as saying pink, but these colors and the more purple colors are very bright compared to especially the Shiraz and the dusky purple compared to when I just colored with the pencil. They were quite dark, and it was difficult to see the different pigments in the color. But now you can clearly see that the dusky purple is a sort of a very dark purple and a bit more matte in color, not as clear as the mauve. The Shiraz is a more reddish purple color. The sienna gold wasn't brown, it was actually gold, and so was the burnt orange. It wasn't brown, it was a more darker orange, brown, not brown, just a darker orange. I don't think there's any brown in it. Hopefully you can see it for the light. The poppy red is really, really bright. The chili red, there was some brown in it with the pencil, but now you can clearly see that it is a red color, just a darker red color than the hot red. The cherry is a bit mild in the color, I think. The carmine pink and the crimson, they're not pink at all. The carmine pink is just carmine, I think. You can also see that when I swatched them, I pressed hard. So you can see when you press very hard, you can see that the coloring, when the water is blended with the pigments, is very, very strong. And if you ease the pressure of the pencil, you can see that it does turn a lighter color. This page I thought was very, very dark with the violets and the blues, but when the water hits it, you can clearly see that there are many, many different shades of blue. Before they were somewhat of a blur and just dark blue, but you can see here that the lagoon has a bit violet in it, and when you reach the peacock blue, they just turn more and more blue. The navy blue is somewhat matte. We have the Irish blue, a very clear blue color. I think the bright blue also, but a darker shade than the Irish. The indigo, you can clearly see that it is blue. Some of other brands of coloring pencils, they have an indigo blue, which is very, very dark. I think when you add water to this one, you can see that it's blue. It's not black or blackish. It is really blue. The sea blue is really, really gorgeous, and so is the dark aquamarine. And when you look at the green colors, you can see how bright they are when the water is mixed with the pigments of the pencils here. The teal green, I thought it was a bit dull to see when it was just the coloring pencil, but the water really changes this color. You can also see the vivid green and the apple green. That was a complete surprise. I wasn't anticipating that it would get so light and beautiful. Usually apple green is a bit darker with coloring pencils, but when you mix it with water, these Derwent Inktense apple green, it's really, really light and bright. The field green also, and then the hooker's green is lighter than I thought it would be. The felt green also, I thought it was a bit dull in the color, but it's a nice green. I think that the hooker's green and felt green are very much alike. The hooker's a bit more dark than the felt green, but there's a difference, but it's small. The light olive, on the other hand, I think it was much darker than I thought it would be when I added the water. And then this page, you can clearly see that some of these I thought they would be brown, but when the water was mixed here with the mustard, it turned to a more golden brown color. a bit darker with the amber and the tan. The oak is a beautiful dark brown color. The salad brown, just brown, and you can see the baked earth has some sort of a reddish color in it, a reddish tone, the red oxide of course, but also the madder brown. It was dull and just dark, but when you add the water you can see clearly that there are some red pigments in this color. So it's like a reddish dark brown. And this was a complete surprise because I could hardly see any difference. I thought it was black, 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 black. But you can clearly see that the bark is a very, very dark brown color. So is the sepia. You can clearly see that the sepia is brown and not black. The Chinese ink is, I think it's supposed to be a very, very dark gray because it's similar to the black, or perhaps some sort of a black color. But the Indian pink has some brown in it. It's very difficult to see even when you add water, but there is just a touch of brown in the Indian pink. The charcoal gray and the paints gray, you can clearly see that there are some grays in it, especially if you don't have a lot of pigment. If you just add a light layer of the pencil, then you can see it's gray. If you add a much heavier layer of the charcoal gray, you can see it's turning almost like black. The paints gray, a beautiful gray color. The neutral gray, it is more like a dark gray, I would say, compared to the paints gray. Of course, we have ink black. And then the white, which we can't see, but you can add white and blend the other colors before you add the water. And then we have the outliner. And an outliner pencil is not water soluble. It works like a graphite pencil, just like a normal pencil, and it also felt different when I swatched it. So it's a pencil you use when you work with watercolors, normal watercolors, or these watercolor pencils. So if you want to have some clear outlines, you can use this outliner to make these lines around the things that you want to color, like a tree or a flower. Then you can have the outline of it. And if you put water on it, it won't smudge or fade or anything. You can clearly see it. So the outliner is a very good thing to have when you work with watercolors. So I must say that I am thrilled with my buy of these pencils. Remember, this is just an impression video. It's not a review. I think that I need to spend more time with these pencils before I can probably review them. I have to use them in some coloring books or some paper to color with them before I can probably review them. But I want to say that I have not regretted buying these pencils. The only thing that I would mention is that the color of this paint at the back of the pencil really doesn't really match the colors, not when they are just color pencils, and neither when they are swatched with water. When you put water on them, you can see this is the red violet, and it doesn't match with when you have a thick layer, a lighter layer of the pencil. Not quite the match. And here I had a lighter layer. Perhaps this is the one that matches the best. But if you take another color, like this sorbet lemon, I still think it should be called sorbet lemon, you can clearly see that no matter where I put it, whether it's in the area where there was a lot of color, or here when there wasn't a lot of color, just a light layer, it doesn't match. So that's a little bit disappointing. But perhaps it is really, really difficult to match the right tones in this paint with the colors of the pencils. Perhaps that's it. But that's just a little glitch. I am very satisfied with the buy, and I'm looking forward to trying them out in coloring books and on paper in the future, and then making a review. So watch out on my channel for this review. Please like and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss the review of these pencils, and I will see you next time. Happy coloring. Bye.